Hello, Internet. Good afternoon. How are you doing this beautiful Monday? I'm excited to get outside and check out what's going on in the weather today because it looks nice. Chicago summer is upon us. Everybody knows summer in Chicago is magical. This one's going to be a magical one. I can feel it. Feel it in my bones. I hope you're having a great day, everyone. I am excited for the week. I've got a lot going on. I'm excited for the day. I'm getting together with Luke and Evan at 2:30 to record some videos. And then I got comedy class tonight doing my one-liners. So meeting up with some friends before class to try out our one-liners. And I think some of them are good, some of them not so much. I just wrote one this morning. I have kind of a suite of jokes about fast food restaurants. I don't have these together yet. I'm going to try saying them now. They probably won't be good, but I'll at least get them out. Oh, I'm already enacting the title, Experimentation Leads to Intuition. So I'm going to experiment here with some jokes. I love fast food restaurant. Let me not try and say it like I'm performing. I'll just say it. I love fast food restaurant mottos because sometimes they are jokes within themselves. Like take, for example, Rallies, you got to eat. Yeah, if you're at Rallies, you're there because you got to eat. You have exhausted all other options, and here you are. Or Burger King, have it your way. I do have it my way by not going to Burger King. And then Steak and Shake has, it's a meal. It certainly is Steak and Shake. You've got that. I read this news article the other day that said a Wendy's employee was found cut up an Arby's employee was found dead, chopped up in the freezer. That puts a whole new spin on the phrase, we have the meats. Boom, 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 boom. That's my favorite fast food commercial soundtrack. All right, I wrote that today. I think that's going to be good. Yeah, so experimentation leads to intuition. This is something that my coach and friend Derek commented on my live stream from a couple days ago, maybe 2 or 3 days ago. I was talking about YouTube titles and about how I've been making lots of different videos and trying out different titles and seeing what works. And I think he summed up what I was saying in that very succinct phrase, experimentation leads to intuition. I'm actually sitting here reading my copy of Experiments Never Fail, which I just got this book, but this motto has been very helpful in these past few months. And just think about experimentation leads to intuition. I'm also reading, I guess, my John Maxwell book, and I'm reading the chapter on intuition right now and how leaders use their intuition. And I've just been thinking about, while I've been writing jokes this past week, I've been writing lots of jokes. Every joke I write down is an experiment. And right now, because I'm kind of a joke noob, I don't have a great intuition of if my jokes are funny or not. So going from no joke to write a funny joke, there's no experiment there. There's no data to say, I haven't honed my intuition in joke writing to a point where I can just tell if something's funny or not. Like I imagine a world-class comedian can. I imagine someone like Mark Normand knows his jokes are funny before he I know his jokes are funny before I imagine he knows his jokes are funny before he puts them in front of an audience. And that's come from writing probably thousands of jokes and trying out hundreds or thousands of jokes in front of audiences. You know, I'm seeing when I went to an open mic last Tuesday, I had my friend Andy film me, and I've watched the set back a couple times, and it's been really illuminating to see parts where I thought people were going to laugh where they didn't laugh, and parts where I just kind of blew through things I was saying and people were laughing. And it's like, looking back, it's like, oh yeah, that is funny. I had a joke about being 31 and eating Hot Pockets, and I said, so I was eating today's Hot Pocket, and I kept talking and people laughed at that. And it's like, oh yeah, like the notion of today's Hot Pocket is really funny. Like I'm meal prepping Hot Pockets. And so the experiment of writing some jokes, getting on stage and telling the jokes gave me a data point of things that were funny, things that weren't funny, and increased my intuition. I've already developed this pretty extensively with music, where I've talked about this. Like, you can learn music theory, but until you sit down at your instrument and actually improvise, actually make some notes and say, I wonder what, it's like, okay, I just learned what a C major 7 chord is, where it's C, E, G, B. Well, I almost screwed that up saying it, but it's like, well, let me experiment with that. What does that sound like? Okay, that's what that sounds like. That's what that sounds like in these octaves on the crappiest keyboard in the world. God, this keyboard is so bad. I love it. Let me find a better sound. I got a ha-ha. Thanks for the ha-ha. Is that for me almost not being able to dictate a C major 7 chord as a professional musician? But when I sit down at the keyboard, like right there, I can like make this like make music out of the C major 7 notes and shape. Hey, Derek. I've experimented with music so much. I've been playing piano very seriously for like 15 years. So I've experimented with piano so much that I have an incredible amount of intuition at the piano. I can improvise stuff. I can hear sounds in my head and generate those sounds on the keyboard almost instantly. And that, I didn't think about it as experimenting in the time. I called it practicing, but practicing is really experimenting. It's sitting down and trying to get your fingers to do what your ears want them to do. And yeah, I'm just seeing experimentation leads to intuition. And where I'm seeing a growth opportunity in that is that I think I have dismissed things as not possible, or I can't do it, and never experimented with it. So I have this goal at the end of 90 days to have a show booked at the end of the summer where I'm going to play for 500 people in Chicago. And over the past few days, what I have done to work towards that goal is, I think practicing is always experimentation. Yes, I do. Because even if you're playing let's say you're playing a piece of music that is where there's no improvisation to it, you're playing like a Chopin piece, like it's an experiment. You don't actually, each time you play it, you're experimenting as to if you're gonna play everything right. And then what does right even mean? Because your emotions of the moment will dictate how you choose to follow dynamics and articulation. If there's any stretching of the time, rubato moments, exactly the tempo you're at. So I feel like experimentation and practicing could be synonyms. You know, I practice making videos. I'm experimenting every time I make a video. I'm also practicing. I'm practicing setting up the camera in a spot for good lighting. Not on these live streams. I don't really care about the lighting on these. But when I go like out in public to make videos or make keyboard videos, I'm experimenting. When I ask strangers to be involved in my videos, it's a practice in confidence, and it's an experiment in seeing what kind of language resonates with strangers, what kind of questions get strangers excited to jump in on my weird piano project. Yeah, what was I going to say? So I've got this goal with my 90-day challenge to do a show for 500 people. And what I've been doing over the past couple days as I started this challenge is I've sent an email or more every day, I've been emailing venues that hold 500 plus people to let them know about the project and my interest in setting up a big show in the fall. And I've also been emailing the band because I want to get in the studio in the end of June to record some music as promotional material for the show. Yeah, I like it too. That's a great question. But yeah, everything can be an experiment. Piano practice can be an experiment. I'm experimenting with emailing these venues. I've written booking emails for years, but each one of those is even an experiment, because each email I send to each venue, I don't personally know the talent buyer at the venue. I don't know what they're like and what kind of language they're going to respond to. And each email is an opportunity to write up my explanation of what the band is, what I'm selling to them is, and see what's going to get them to say, oh, I want to have you here, or why they might dodge the email. So yeah, just over the last few days, the public accountability here. I've sent some emails to some venues. Most of them hold at least 500 people. A couple of them hold less than 500, because I'm just trying out stuff and just trying to just figure out who's going to respond and who's interested. And I sent a follow-up email to Epiphany Center for the Arts. That's at least at this moment where I really want to make it happen. I was looking, Lincoln Hall also would be a good spot to make it happen. It looks like that holds just over 500 people. So that'd be really fun to say we sold out Lincoln Hall. And I believe that's possible. I know that's possible. That's possible. Take out all the extra words. That's possible. That's possible for Danny and Safety Squad to sell out Lincoln Hall, sell out Epiphany Center for the Arts. Yeah, and then I've also just been emailing the band to get this stuff together, and just by being committed to making this happen. This isn't quite talking about experiments, but just sharing where I'm at. Like, I used to email the band, and then like if people didn't respond, I kind of like would just be sheepish about it. But I emailed them, got one response. So I emailed them again the next day, got another response, or got two more responses. And then one person in the band hadn't responded. So I texted him and he said, oh, I'm sorry, I'll respond right away. And then I still didn't hear from him. So I texted him again this morning and he went, oh, he screwed up on his email back. He only sent the email to someone else in the band. He didn't send it to the full thing. So figured out he can't do it. He can't do the recording date I want to have happen. And instead of saying, oh, well, we're screwed, which I totally would have said before, I said, no, like I know other drummers that are great. I know drummers that can really play well and have played my music before and are good friends and fun. Let me call another drummer. So I called another drummer and I reached out to the recording studio today. And I think we're going to have an afternoon 1 month from today where we're going to get to record a new album of music, which I want to use. Maybe the show, I'm even thinking just be a CD release show. That's already a good opportunity to get people excited about something. Hey, we're releasing a new album of music. Come to the show and be a part of that movement. Yeah, so experimentation leads to intuition. You know, I guess even like being right there, like putting on shows. I've done CD release shows. I've done other types of shows. I know I start to have more intuition about what works and what doesn't work. So this is an encouragement to get into action, to go experiment. Last night after my gig, I was exhausted physically, but I was not really ready to go to bed. And I felt a little down that I hadn't made any short videos Saturday or Sunday. And I talked to my buddy Marcos on the phone for a little bit. And then I was walking around. I was like, wow, it's really beautiful outside. I was like, what if I go to the park and and film myself making some videos? And I brought my toy keyboard to the park. I actually filmed that really sentimental video that I'm very happy about. I filmed myself playing that Elvis song, Can't Help Falling in Love with You. And put some text on there that I thought was really beautiful and honest, just about self-forgiveness. I said, I forgive myself for the times I've hurt people I love. I forgive myself for the times I've hurt myself. I forgive myself for, I can't remember what the third thing I said was, times I wasn't kind to myself, and I'm choosing to be kind to myself. And I definitely wouldn't have been brave enough to make such a personal, sentimental post like that before, but I've been experimenting with sharing my emotions on these live streams, experimenting with just making videos every day. And when I filmed that video last night, I was just in the park kind of like trying to find spots to film. It was dark out. My phone was at low battery, so my flash wouldn't even work. So I had to really improvise there. And I actually had intuition guide me on writing that text on the video, where I filmed myself playing that Elvis song. And I noticed the way I had the camera set up, there was a lot of space. And I was like, oh, this space is screaming for text. And at first I was like, I could put the lyrics to the song. I was like, I don't really know. Like, I'm not singing it. That's not really resonating with me. And then my intuition told me that because it's a sentimental song, I'm playing it at night in the park on a toy keyboard. And I was feeling sentimental, And I was like, this is a good opportunity to write something vulnerable on here. And my intuition led me to that. And I've only been able to develop that intuition from experimenting and posting videos all the time. And yeah, so experimentation leads to intuition. Any skill I've developed, any skill you've developed started with experimentation. Even if you took a class, like I'm taking a comedy class, so I've got an instructor helping to guide me, give me exercises, give me tools to use, but it still is experimentation. One liner a week has been a huge experiment. The group chat for comedy classes is blowing up. It's hysterical because everybody's like, one liners are so hard. Everybody's like freaking out and feeling bad about their one liners. I'm going to guess we're going to show up tonight and we're going to have a ton of fun, and we're all going to be funnier than we think we are. And some of them are going to work and some of them aren't. But just going through and having the courage to take an experiment to say, I set a timer for 10 minutes and I'm going to write one-liners for 10 minutes. And being willing to step into that experiment, being willing to like let it fail, like fail as in write a one-liner that isn't funny, is helping me develop my intuition on one-liners and develop my intuition on joke writing and joke delivery. And it's definitely fun. Like some of the jokes I've written that like started out not funny, I've practiced them on friends. My buddy, shout out to Zach Marks. I practiced a bunch of jokes on him, and he was really all about like, oh, what if you took out this word? What if you added this word? And it's helping me. I watch someone like Mark Normand is such a great example of a comedian who is so good at just coming up with jokes. He just comes up with jokes like based on the crowd work, or it seems so natural to him to just so I saw this thing, somebody shouted out Bud Light for him to do a joke on Bud Light. He's like, oh yeah, Bud Light is gender fluid. I call that alcohol gender fluid. See, I didn't even say it in a funny way. He said it very funny, but the punchline, because of the whole controversy, but that cracked me up. And he just came up with that. He has an intuition for jokes that he has developed from experimenting, from getting in front of crowds. Probably, I don't know his story exactly, but I imagine he bombed hundreds, if not thousands of times before that intuition really cultivated into being able to just come up with jokes on the fly. So I love that phrase that Derek came up with, experimentation leads to intuition. And it's kind of in tandem with this phrase, experiments never fail. Which has just been such a radically new way to look at life. I was just reading the first few chapters of the book, and the author talks about how it was a night where it was a time in his life where he basically hated everything about his life. He hated his job. He felt stuck. He felt bored and scared, all this stuff. And he's talking to this guy, and this guy had him like write out all of the self-help wisdom he's learned over the years. And he wrote out this whole page of stuff. And then the guy took that page and crossed everything out and then wrote on another page, experiments never fail. And he was like, this should like throw all that away. This is what you should live by. And I was like, wow, that's really powerful. I'm seeing it, when I was in the park last night, it was like 11:45 PM and I approached some strangers and asked them if I could play a song for them. And they said no. And, I'm just seeing the experiment of going to the park and making up songs for people, going out in public and having the courage to talk to people, to make up songs for people, is helping me have courage to do that more and find more opportunities to do it. I remember a year ago going to the park to make up songs for people. I did it 2 or 3 times, and it was terrifying and hard and stressful. And I'm carrying around my camera, and it was super awkward. And just a week ago, I didn't even post this video, but a week ago, I literally just like had my keyboard and I went up to some people and I just started filming. I was like, hey, can I make up a song for you guys? Will you film it for me? And like, the experiment a year ago of going to the park with my clunky camera on the stand, trying to do it all by myself, led to me, well, one, bringing friends, Jose and Marcos, to the park to help film me. And then now even just say, well, I could just go and make the person I want to do it for film me. And that'll be an interesting way to not make them, but request that they do it for me. Yeah, experimentation leads to intuition. This is an experiment to say, I'm going to put on a show bigger than I've ever put on before. And my intuition is fuzzy right now. It's like, how many bands do I have on the bill? What do I call it? Is there Is there some way to get a sponsorship, to get people involved? There's lots of these questions that when I ask them, I don't have an intuitive answer to yet, but I'm going to go experiment with it and I'm going to know, oh, this works, this doesn't work. So, yeah, I hope you go out and experiment today. Experiments are messy. They're imperfect. Derek talked about being messy yesterday on his live. I highly recommend you check it out. There's something you want to happen, and instead of waiting for all the data to be in the right spot and do it, go experiment. Go find out, not theoretically, but tangibly for yourself. Go make a big mess and then go, okay, there's a concrete data point. There's something to fuel my intuition. Yeah, that's cool. I'm hype. Yeah, I am going to get going. I would like to write some music and write some jokes today. Oh, I'll stop. I'll end this with some push-ups. I was thinking about doing push-ups. I wonder if I could do 30 right now. I would like to do 2 sets of 30 today. So let's see if I can do that. Here's an experiment. Let me get in the frame. Oh my gosh. Hands on the carpet, hands on the carpet. I put my hands on the carpet. Oh gosh. There's 10? There's 15? There's 20? Oh, the carpet is getting messed up. Oh, come on. Here's 25. One more. Rock and roll. I'm not going to do the next set on stream. All right. Love you all. Experiments lead to intuition. Go out and experiment. It's the best way to live life.